We all know the enemy of your enemy is your friend. But what if you have another enemy who's the enemy of the first enemy who's now your friend? Why do you have so many enemies? You should try being nicer to people. Chip rivals Intel and AMD have joined forces to defend themselves against the rising threat of ARM processors, who apparently think they're good enough to power MacBooks and Windows PCs now. Team Red and Blue announced at Lenovo's Tech World conference that they've recruited giants like Microsoft, Google, and more to the x86 advisory group, despite those companies recently building their own ARM server chips to get away from x86. But darling, you can't decline an invitation to an advisory group. It simply isn't done. Perhaps more confusing is the addition of famous computer boys Tim Sweeney and Linus Torvalds as luminaries on the board, which means they get to wear cool robes and sit in the biggest chairs in the boardroom? I don't know what.
I think luminaries means they're gonna set them on fire.
To prove that x86 isn't dead, Intel also took the opportunity to show off the first Panther Lake sample chip built on Intel's 18A node, the one that the company said it's completely focusing on instead of the 20A node used in its Arrow Lake desktop chips, launching late next week. Might seem a tad early to get the Panther Lake hype started now, but it's probably in Intel's best interest, as more leaked benchmarks in CPU-Z and Blender showed disappointing performance from the Arrow Lake flagship Core Ultra 9 285K. Thankfully, Intel's gonna get some emotional support from its new pal AMD, who's expected to launch the Ryzen 9 9800X3D the day after the Arrow Lake launch. I mean, you don't want them to be lonely.
Are they friends now?
Standing out there. Both Google and Amazon are turning to SMRs, small modular nuclear reactors, which are prefabricated and easily assembled with an output capacity of up to 300 megawatts. Google has announced an agreement to buy power from Kairos Power, a company with a yet untested SMR design that recently began construction of an unpowered demo reactor. Amazon, meanwhile, is giving money to 2 utility companies to study the possibility of adding SMRs to their existing large non-modular reactors, as well as investing in startup X Energy, which has its own equally untested SMR design. This sounds like a good idea. That's for the scientists. We gotta get these AIs going, guys. SMRs have been a popular idea for getting around the prohibitive upfront costs of old school reactors, which can take decades to build, but due in part to regulatory barriers and public uncertainty, they've been slow in coming. Currently, the only successful SMRs in the world are in Russia and China, built in 2020 and 2021, respectively. However, the new hotness in the tech world, AI, is burning a hole through many companies' budgets with its exorbitant energy draw. While Microsoft has jumped onto a scheme to get the old 3 Mile Island reactor up and running, there aren't exactly a lot of old, unused reactors just sitting around in basically serviceable condition. Nuclear energy has become far more efficient over the last few decades, especially with techniques like fuel reprocessing, though that itself has raised concerns over nuclear proliferation because, fun fact, it's also how you extract plutonium for use in nuclear weapons. But if we don't build the reactors, how are we gonna make the AI that will one day nuke us all? Think about it.
The only way to win is to not play.
The recent rollout of Windows 11 version 24H2 is causing its fair share of chaos, as major Windows updates are wont to do. Users have reported widespread connectivity issues after restarting their newly updated devices, while others have found that their mouse cursor disappears completely when they click on text fields in Chromium-based apps, including Microsoft Edge. Another bug causes the system file checker to misclassify files as corrupted, attempt to fix them, and rescan them, only to find them corrupted yet again, like an IT Sisyphus. Microsoft did this on purpose to punish it. There's also a phantom 8.63 gigabyte update cache that can't be deleted, which Microsoft says is actually just a reporting error. All of these issues should be fixed at some point, but depending on how serious your device has been affected, you might just want to roll back to version 23H2, or maybe just roll over and go back to bed. Probably the most serious bug is the one causing some Western Digital SSDs to repeatedly crash, like a narcoleptic bus driver. Makes sense to me. The affected SSD models are the SN580 and the SN770, which lack a DRAM module and instead use a host memory buffer, or HMB, in the computer's system memory to store a map of where data is located on the SSD. This recent Windows 11 update changed these SSDs' maximum HMB size from 64 megabytes to 200 megabytes, causing them to freak out. Notably, there are other vendors that sell SSDs with 64 megabyte HMBs, and it's not yet clear why only Western Digital SSDs are having this problem. It is possible to fix the issue with a rollback, that is, if you can manage to do so before your PC poops its pants. Good luck. It's also more than possible to fix your whole grooming situation with our sponsor, Manscaped, and their new Chairman Pro package, an all-in-one shaving set that is perfect for men, especially ones who sit in chairs. A chairman. The Chairman Pro electric foil shaver comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, the 4-blade foil for a super close shave, and the stubble trimmer for a more rugged look. Plus, its 360-degree flex adjust technology lets the blades pivot and adjust to the contours of your face and neck. The Chairman Pro has a travel lock and LED spotlight, lasts 75 minutes on a single charge, and is rated IPX7 water resistant, making it a great razor for a guy who loves chasing waterfalls, even if he shouldn't. You'll also get their Power Shave Gel, which has a non-irritating formula to lube up those cheeks, and their Face Shave Soother, a dermatologist-tested aftershave serum to hydrate your skin and reduce redness and ingrown hairs. Both are dye-free, cruelty-free, alcohol-free, vegan, and they stick to the rivers and the lakes that they're used to. Purchase the Chairman Pro package at manscaped.com/techlinked and use code TechLinked for 20% off and free shipping. The quick bits are not your enemy. They're not your friend either. Kind of like Switzerland.
Or Liechtenstein.
The FTC has unveiled the final version of its new click to cancel rule, which will require subscription services to make cancellation as easy as signing up. None of the usual chicanery where you check a box at checkout to sign up, but you've got to send a 12-page form written in blood to a P.O. box in Bermuda to get out.
Stop sending me Postmates!
The rule applies to online companies like Amazon, yes, but it also applies to brick and mortar businesses like gyms, which are typically harder to break up with than Bluebeard.
He's a mythological figure who murders all his wives.
And that's your Jessica fun fact for the day. Adobe has unveiled its Firefly text-to-video AI generation tool, which distinguishes itself from its competition with a training database that Adobe says is exclusively composed of above-board licensed content. The tool is still in beta, but it will definitely be more appealing to large brands who'd rather not get their assets sued off. In response to the rise of deepfakes enabled by these kinds of easy-to-use tools, startup Reality Defender has developed its own tool to detect live deepfakes in video calls, one that will hopefully be ready in time for my Skype call next week with the Pope and the Dalai Lama. Big tech news fans, those guys. SpaceX literally caught a rocket in midair during its 5th test flight of the massive Starship rocket. The rocket's first stage Super Heavy booster launched the Starship, essentially the upper stage that is meant to hold people, to 130 miles above the ground, then slowly descended to be caught by the mechanical arms of the launch tower. I missed you. Now, SpaceX wants to move on to catching the Starship itself, too. We're gonna be shooting tubes of people into the sky and then catching them in a giant clamp. It's like the most high-stakes game of catch you've ever seen. Don't drop it.
What Elon Musk never got from his own father.
The bell is now tolling for uBlock Origin, as the extension may or may not be supported by your Chrome browser. While the extensions page in the Chrome Web Store says the extension may soon no longer be supported, some users have actually been told by Chrome that uBlock Origin and other extensions are definitely unsupported, with the browser explicitly turning said extensions off. It's the end of an era. Anyway, I'll see you all on Firefox. And multiple US owners of Ecovacs robot vacuums have reported that their once faithful dustbusters started following them around, screaming slurs and obscenities. It has begun. To be clear, these devices were just hacked. They did not suddenly gain sentience and speedrun their way to anti-Semitism. According to an investigation by ABC, a PIN code is required to access these Ecovacs video feeds, but there's no server-side validation, meaning that it's easily bypassed. Worse, the company was warned about this issue back in 2023 and simply told users not to worry about it in a statement to TechCrunch. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? A tiny mobile camera could be used to constantly monitor you in your most intimate moments? Yes, but hey, we don't mind if you monitor us on Friday for another episode of Tech News. You could even second monitor us if you have to. But I feel like you're missing out on at least 10% of the experience.
2% is Riley's mustache.
Whatever floats your boat.